Hey, this is a 2013 Toyota Tundra with the 5.7 V8, and this is going to be a how-to video on your water pump and then how to know if your water pump's going out and what to look for. This is going to be the same from 2007 up to 2021 with the 5.7 V8, and also probably the 4.6 will be pretty similar. What mine started doing is on, humid mornings or dewy mornings, it would start and it'd be squealing from the belt area, which sounds like just, an idler pulley or something, but that is not the case here. I do have my water pump starting to go out, and as you know, if you've ever worked on any of these, I have a couple videos just, in between doing alternator and other things, that they are fairly tight to work on. There's a decent amount of stuff to take off to do water pumps and alternators, and there's also a fan assembly bracket that has a bearing down there that you should consider putting on if you're doing this job, because that is part of a disassembly to get it off. So just things to consider, and I will show you what to look for. So if it doesn't really lose that much coolant. It's weeping out. I haven't had to add coolant. You can see it's low on the tank. That doesn't concern me. When I check the radiator, it's full because it's a very slow leak, but the bearing is definitely going bad in the water pump, causing it to squeal a little bit and chirp, more of a chirp when it starts up until the bearing runs around. But the easy way to see the leak is get under the vehicle. We'll lift it up here. So I noticed it when I was doing my oil change. I might have to pull the pan off to see it. Oh man, Toyota, I tell you. Yep. So after getting your vehicle up or getting underneath it, you'll have to remove the skid plate, which is usually 12mm bolts. I had some Chevrolet 10mm heads that is just simpler, but it has hooks on the front. Okay, so you have a hook that goes in. These ones go up and to the left, so you'll lift the front up, move to the right, slip it down. So when I was changing my oil, I noticed I had right there water, the pink coolant drip. So that's it right there, weeping down. I'm trying to get a better view for you. You'll see that residue, the pink residue, if you have the original in there. And right there, I can trace it up to my water pump, okay? So the water pump's up over there, and it is leaking down out of the weep hole. It's hard to see, sorry. But that's how I knew it was my water pump leaking. So that is where we're going with this. Now, your water pump is the one directly above us. That over there, your fan bracket, is not on your water pump like a typical vehicle, okay? That's your fan bracket assembly. That bearing goes bad as well. So there is a bracket assembly that I recommend buying and replacing when you do this job, because if you got to go back and take stuff apart. So usually you want to do it all. I'm not doing it on this one. I don't have that many miles and it's been well taken care of, but I will be doing the belt and I'll be doing the water pump with an Aisin assembly, and I'll step by step you through it. This is the water pump kit we're putting in. I do not recommend anything else but an Aisin water pump. Aisin makes Toyota parts, okay? So this is a Toyota water pump. The reason being is you don't want to do this stuff twice, and we've seen a lot of failures with aftermarket stuff lately. It comes with the stuff you need: high quality gasket, the thermostat seal, I believe, for the face seal right here, and the pump. So that's the part number, WPT 804. Unfortunately, Amazon has them the cheapest you can get them. They're like $80 to $100, and that's what we're going to be installing. Okay. You want like a nice clean pail or something to drain coolant in. On your driver's side is your drain right there. So you'll untwist that, loosen it like you're loosening a bolt, and you can start draining. I'll get it started, but I'm gonna drop the truck down because I'm just showing the video high, but you'll loosen it, it'll start draining out. I'm draining your bucket. So drop this down while it's draining. You'll want to loosen your cap too, it'll allow it all to come out. Okay, you're gonna lift this cover up. It just simply pops up off that mount there, and a mount here, mount there, and then it slips onto the back two slider mounts. Set that to the side. Always a good idea too. Like while you have it apart, it's nice to clean this stuff when you put it back together. Keep your truck clean. But and you'll go from there. We'll go next. We will remove the fan shroud and the fan itself, the clutch fan. Okay, I grabbed channel locks and took this clamp off. I'm gonna remove this hose so that way I can lift the shroud off. You will need two 10 millimeters or a 10 millimeter. You remove this bolt and this bolt. You'll take this hose and twist it, pull it off. That's attached to the reservoir overflow, which is attached to the shroud. You'll take a flathead screwdriver. You'll come down here and you'll see these cooler hoses that are attached, and they have that plastic mounting tab right there. They clip into each other, and you can take a screwdriver and just go between them, pry it open, and it'll clip that out. So those are free. And then when you have this stuff disconnected, so you can pull the shroud out, it's because you're gonna pull the shroud out with the clutch fan assembly, which it looks like 12s. So with the belt still attached, you can grab a 12 wrench and crack these bolts loose. Let's see, sorry, that sucks. Crack these bolts loose right there. While the belt's on, it is a 12, okay? You'll crack these loose while your belt's on, so that way you have a little tension on it. And you'll leave the clutch fan on there loose. And when you have all your shroud loose, you'll be able to hold your clutch fan and then work it out together. It might be easier to remove this hose completely, or just bend it over and tuck it over here and tie it to the side, just for the ease of being able to hold on to your clutch fan and your shroud and pull it all out without catching anything or yanking a wire. Okay, so the bolts on mine were super tight, so take a flathead screwdriver, a pretty thick one, and you can stick it down. And I did a water pump video on a 4.0 one time and did this, and everyone said, oh, well, leave the belt on first. Well, not the case here. It won't break loose. So you can jam it here and then get your wrench on, and you can hold it there and break those loose. So that's what I had to do on this one. I did have a ratchet wrench with that flat, which makes it a lot easier, but I broke them all loose and can spin them by hand now. And I'll get this off and then pull this clutch fan out with the shroud. So I will not be able to hold my phone and show you guys that, but that's what I'm doing. So there it is out. So after I loosen the bolts, I'm able to grab this around the shroud with my left hand, grab the shroud with my right hand, and lift them out together, up, pull them straight out. That was pretty simple. Okay, this actually looks new. So it looks like the fan bracket actually replaced already. And then this is what we're going after. So while the belt's on too, we'll try to break these 12s. If not, it'll be the same trick. You'll be using a screwdriver kind of between them to hold them, and something there. And then we'll keep, after we get those broken loose, we will remove the belt from when, and with the, obviously with the tensioner. Remove the belt and we'll keep working on removing the water pump and what else comes with it. There might be something else up here. It's been a while since I did one, but I'll step you guys through. All right, so we got those cracked loose. I did have to take, you can see that little bit of mar in there. I took a flat head and wedged between the bolt there onto the pulley and cracked these loose. They're pretty tight, man. So you ain't gonna do that with just belt tension. So any commenters in this video that are say, why don't you leave the belt on? Well, it ain't gonna matter. So you're gonna get it. Your tensioner bolt to get your belt off, so 14. So that's what's next to get your belt off. Let's see which direction we go. And something too, before you guys start this, which I'll put it in the notes on the video, test your alternator. So you're gonna go clockwise, which is tightening. Sorry. Check your alternator, not clockwise, my bad. That's loosens, like you're loosening. With your 14, that's how you get your belt off. And but what I'll say is test your alternator and any other signs of anything you have to do while you have this stuff off. Like I said, this bracket assembly, I can see that mine's new, but there's a bearing in there that goes bad all the time. Okay, this one's not hard to do, like if you had to, but replace it if you have to. Use good parts. Don't go get like a plastic gates or something. Like this is a metal pulley. Go find a good pulley to replace that idler pulley. Just check everything while you're in there, because it's a lot of work to pull this stuff off. Anything going on down there, replace it. Definitely replace your belt while you're in there. Pull your belt, inspect it. Obviously, if you just did a belt doing something else, you don't have to replace it, but look at the grooves. Turn it reverse or what you normally look at it, and roll through it like that. Okay, this one's pretty good. You can see right there we got some cracking. It physically feels dry. Okay, I can't see the numbers on it. It's definitely like an aftermarket belt, but it's kind of like a weird dry belt, but you can see it's starting to crack. I mean, I could run it, but I will replace it. I'll only use either Toyota Continental or Napa Micron V belts are the only belts I'll run. Continental, if you have like a Dodge Ram or something that squeals belts, Continental works. Okay, so Continental or the Napa Micron V, if not OEM. Otherwise, do not even waste your money. So here's a good example of aftermarket. This, you could tell, had been replaced, so I was gonna leave it, but upon spinning, I can hear noise, and it has play. So maybe you can hear that. That sucks, because I don't have that part. But there's a good example for you. It's obvious that they had replaced this aftermarket, and because I can tell by the clutch fan part is like pretty new painted. So for the age of the vehicle, still that's Aisin. But so typically I put this on, but since I knew it was new, I thought it'd be all right. But here's our good example why you use Aisin or Toyota when using Toyota. So it's bad and it's new. So here's my water pump. You can see it's leaking. But that's what I feel a titch of play, but not like that. So that's what we're chasing, the water pump, but replace this bracket while you're in here. You can hear it. Honestly, my squeaking is probably coming from here, and the water pump's just weeping. So replace the bracket. It's called the fan clutch assembly bracket. This is the fan bracket you want to order, FBT-014. Amazon is always the cheapest place you'll find it. You need to pre-order it because people don't stock these. Do not put a Dorman or aftermarket on, okay? Now you can get AutoZone, give them this part number and they can get it for you too. Might be quicker. So that is your fan bracket pulley assembly that you want to replace with your water pump, just because of all the stuff you have to take off to do it. While you have the water pump, this you want to do this. So quick add-on for the fan bracket, it's 3 12s and a 14 over there, and then you'll remove that 10 millimeter there, a 10 millimeter here, and then down right there, right where my finger is pointing, there's a 10 there that you can loosen with an open end 10. And to move these lines, because they have these cooling lines run over this bracket bolt right here. Okay, so in the past I have taken a pry bar and just bent it a little bit out of the way to get to it, but this time I loosened the 310s so I can move it a little bit without bending them to get them back to replace this bracket. Okay, so it is 3 12s and then a big 14 right here to replace that bracket. It is tricky with these cooler lines though, so you do want to loosen them so you don't have to bend them around like I used to, because the belt runs really close to these cooler lines. So if you just gorilla them and bend them way out, there's a chance you're gonna break them. And then I'm gonna just pull that bracket now, and then I'm going to start working on removing the water pump. Okay, I got the fan bracket out. What I did down here is I loosened that 10 as much as I could next to there without taking it out, and then I took a screwdriver and pried these two apart gently to get to that 12 to pull it through with my socket on there, just enough. And then moving over to the water pump, I took a 10, took the 2 boot clamps off, and then that connector that goes through the intake and crankcase vent, flip this over, you have a vacuum line there, 4 10s on your throttle body, and I just took it off and set it to the side. As you can see, I'll clean that too before I put it together. But I just wanted to get the throttle body out of the way just so I can see the bolts in here and just a little bit more of what I'm doing. So that's, you don't have to, but just for, you know, clarity in the video, I'm gonna try to make this easy. So upon starting to pull the water pump, you're gonna have to take this 10 out of this bracket down here to be able to move these hoses, and then you're gonna have to pull this hose off your thermostat housing, and then this off your thermostat housing, and then you're gonna have to pry these back. So you are gonna have to remove these anyways to do it. The 10 mils you pulled out to do your fan bracket, and then you're gonna start getting at these bolts. This one, the 14 is a pain in the butt because it hits this tube. So you got to get on there at a good angle, 6-point socket to hold it, and then keep working your way around with the 12s. Okay, so I got that one. I think that one can't go past there. So what we're gonna do is, that's just gonna stay in there, and then keep working my way around. There's a lot of hoses and brackets, so you know you're gonna have to work around stuff. You have to do that. I got the one back in there, you know, so like there's a lot of tight, crappy spaces. This one's gonna kind of stink. Okay, it's underneath that hose, and this one, see if I can get underneath there and jam it in there and get that, and just work my way slowly around. I'll keep updating as we go, but at this point, I'll say it at the beginning of the video too, is this isn't like a simple old Chevy water pump. Okay, knocking a clutch fan off and pulling a shroud and slapping a water pump on. Okay, this is, I'll be honest, I'm already like an hour and a half into this point and I don't have the water pump off yet. So always consider that, you know, if you get a good quote and tell them you want to use Aisin parts, or tell them you provide the Aisin parts, consider it, because this is not for your, you know, weekend warrior mechanic, unless you're, you know, a really good one. But this isn't just your typical job. Once you get your 312s out of your thermostat housing, you'll be able to pull it back and set it to the side to continue working on the rest of your bolts. So you can see we got, it's hard to see, that 12 there. That 14's loose because I couldn't pull it with the housing off. So you can leave that housing, that 14, and wait till you get to this point. But I got a couple more 12s to pull and I'll be able to pop the water pump off. You have 11 bolts that come out of the water pump. You'll take note to the ones that have silicone on them. Okay, so some of these enter into the water jacket. You can see this one's wet. So you're gonna wanna dry them, re-silicone them. These 3 came from the thermostat housing, but I mean, you can even dab silicone on all of them on the ends. It's not gonna hurt anything, but just take note of that. When you're pulling this stuff, careful if you're working around a radiator. You don't wanna be jamming into it, damage a fin. But man, I'll tell you, Toyota, your water pump definitely won't fall off. You guys got 11 bolts holding it on. It's a bit ridiculous. And they're all tight. You got 2 14s or 3 14s. What do you have there? Yeah, 2 14s. You know, you got the one up top, which for ease, get your thermostat housing out and move it to the side. Then you'll be able to easily get to that 14. You got another 14 down over here, and then a couple 12s, and it's ready to come off. Okay. So once it's loose, it comes off easy. But getting it there is a whole nother deal. So let's see, just looking at this thing here quick, you can see the weep hole is up top. You can see it's been draining out there and running down around. So that's why we're replacing it. I didn't have another issue, but Toyota Aisin coming out, Toyota Aisin going in. You see how they scratched the Toyota off? Oh yeah. So all right, and then we're gonna go back in. We're gonna pull the make sure your gasket is pulled. That's something that's an easy mistake. Pop your gasket off. Check your surface and clean it. That's one thing, they don't skimp on their gaskets. I think this thing weighs as much as the damn water pump does. But yeah, clean your surface, slowly go back together. And I will make videos as I'm on my way back together to give any tips we got. But an overview of this is not a typical easy job. Okay, I did an overview on the alternator on these just to give people a quick watch and decide if this is a job you want to do, and if you think this is something you can do. Look at the circumstances of where we're at. It looks like, roughly, taking my time with the video, it's almost 2 hours to get me to this point. Okay, a lot of parts, a lot of things. The parts you want to order, okay, your Aisin water pump kit, your Aisin fan bracket kit, FBT014, have that stuff ready. Have a serpentine belt ready, a thermostat if you want to install a thermostat. Now's an easy time to do it. This one's not difficult. It's over here. So it'd be an easy time to do it now. I am not going to do it, and I'll tell you why, because I would rather keep my Toyota Aisin thermostat in there for now. But I do recommend, if you're gonna do this, to go ahead and get an Aisin thermostat as well. I'll leave the part number in the notes. I'll make a video if I have to on the way together. But on the way together, put some silicone, water resistant, obviously. I did oil, fuel, coolant resistant on each one of these, and some of these have a little bit, not really, but I would, if you're worried about it, just put a dab on each one. But this one did go into the water jacket because water came out, so definitely these 2 14s and this long 12, put some silicone on them, install. These are from your fan bracket. They have silicone on them too, or sealant. Do the same thing. If it comes out and has sealant on it, put sealant back on when it goes in. It's pretty simple. Putting these back on, you know, get them snugged up and everything. You can pry your screwdriver in there, or get your belt on and tug them, whatever you want to do, what you're comfortable with. I will put a screwdriver in and pry them and tighten them. That's just how I do it. I don't care what people say when they say, oh, you leave the belt on, you break them. You're not breaking these with the belt unless someone else has been in there or whatever. On this vehicle, it was not coming loose with just the belt tension. So something to look at is have a way to hold those to break them loose. The tools used, 10, 12, 14. Pliers, screwdrivers, ratchets, really basic sizes you need, not basic skills. So please like and subscribe. You guys can ask questions but this is just a general outlay. Like I said, as I'm going together, I'll add a video in if it need it, but this is what you're getting into to replace a water pump on a 5.7 Toyota Tundra, Sequoia, Lexus with the 5.7, anything. Okay, typically they get worse the more high end they get, but just to give you guys a good heads up, this is what it is. Go back together as you followed, and Lord bless you guys. Read John 14:6 in your Bibles. Ask questions you have.